Hey everyone, welcome back to Lookout. Doing a quick video here. Update on the Salmon River complex, or Orleans complex, Butler Fire burning near Somes Bar, California. Today we got some intel from midday, and this perimeter we got from about 3 o'clock this afternoon. So wasn't a lot of growth in the areas that are kind of most directly threatening the communities. So we're gonna take a look real quick at that stuff and a little weather, and then we'll have a more complete report in the morning when we've got better intel. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. But while we're on the weather, you can see that the maximum temps for the week, it's only supposed to get to 90 on Wednesday. Today it said the high was going to be about 80, tomorrow 87. And then we look at the maximum relative humidity, which is kind of important for night burning. We see that the RH tonight is supposed to be 63%, which is high. 77 tomorrow, which is, and then you look at the minimum RH today, and tomorrow it's 47 and 35. So those are really good prescribed burning parameters. The high temperature is a little high, but like with those relative humidities, we're seeing some really good fire effects where the fires are backing down to the river. So it's not all bad. Smoke's bad, but a lot of the fire effects, when the smoke clears, you're going to still have a lot of green trees out there, especially in places where the fire backed down the hill or flanked. So I'm going to jump back into the fancy map though, and bring up my cursor here. All right, so here we are. We're looking up the river towards Forks of Salmon, and we're going to start off in the Forks of Salmon, and we're going to work our way. We'll start off here and work our way around the fire in kind of a clockwise fashion. So here on the Hog Range, it's a Yellow Jacket Ridge up here. And we got the Jacket Fire that hasn't spread since they got on that pretty quick. So white line, heavy white line is last night at 11. The light white line is the night before that. And so in places where you've got the white line right on the edge, under the red line, it means the fire hasn't spread in some places for 2 days. So kind of right here at the mouth of Crapo Creek. This is one of the areas that's still kind of freely spreading. So from last night until today, the fires advanced kind of on this little knoll on the point here, just upstream of Crapo Creek. So this is still uncontrolled. And also as you move up the slope here, this area here grew between last night and midday today. Around the rest of this side of the fire, there hasn't really been any growth showing on the afternoon perimeter of today versus what they flew last night. And that same's true all the way up Yellow Jacket Ridge here. Fire hasn't really slopped over the ridge any more than it was the night before last. When we get over here to Murderer's Gulch and Pollock Gulch, we see that the fire was here the night before last. The white line here is where the fire was last night. And then the red line is where the fire has grown from last night. So fire continued down into the bottom of Murderer's Gulch, kind of low in the drainage by midday today. And it was kind of dropping down farther up. There were fingers here that the fire wasn't really spreading at all. And when you look at how sparse this is, if we look at our fire history here, just it's kind of a reminder that, where are my fires? I figured out why my computer crashed. It's because my kid was playing with an extension cord or something, and he tripped the breaker that powers the lookout while I was out of town. So I'm gonna say that's why I can't find my my fire history right now, is because my kid was playing with extension cord. Anyway, we got a bunch of fires. Moral of the story is basically don't leave your kid at home unattended. even if they're a teenager and should know better. And the other thing is that this has burned quite a bit in the last 15 years, and so not a lot of fuel out there for it to rotary up. But the way it is established in the bottom of the drainage here, it's likely to take out this whole bowl, unless they get good air visibility and can do a bunch of work with helicopters to the point where they feel comfortable putting people down here direct. But I'm not there. I can't tell you if that's going to happen or not. I know the strategy was not to do that. Well, the strategy I'd heard was to bring fire line down this ridge here. So I think we'll probably still see some growth here in Murderer's Gulch, but that's my guess from afar, just looking at a computer. Fires continue to back down towards Sawyer's Bar Road. Some places where it burned yesterday hadn't crossed the road, and there's kind of this slow growth down towards the road here along Sawyer's Bar Road, upstream of Forks of Salmon. So looking down at Forks itself, this side of the fire has not grown. The cover photo on today's broadcast is shot here, sent to me by Tobias Seeger. And the fire has really been fairly steady in its backing down towards town. Slow and steady. This is 24 hours of growth here, and then this is about 18 hours of growth. Fort May, 12 and a half. It's about 16 hours of growth from here to here. So it's steadily backing down towards town. Over here in McNeil Creek, the fire hasn't spread in the last day down this flank, but where it did make its run, you can see the light white line here is where the fire ran up out of McNeil Creek the night before last. Then last night it was out to the heavier white lines. And now this afternoon it's kind of continuing to flank through this heavy timber here at a fairly low rate of spread. Another thing that's you can see here is that there was a firing operation along this ridge a couple of days ago, and then there's some new fire that's showing up here on the backside of that ridge, but that can't really tell if that's a thing or if that's just a mapping error. Sometimes they're off a little bit when they fly, so don't know for sure that this is new fire or not in Know Nothing Creek. But you can see that the fire, some of their firing from the night before last didn't spread during the day today, but some of it was continuing to back down. It's not a bad thing for this to back down, because if fire does kind of roll out or get established down in here and becomes a head fire running up into here, eventually it'll be nice to have this kind of blackened in and contain the fire from getting better established in Know Nothing Creek. We did talk about how this is all burned in 2020, so there's not a huge amount of fuel available for the fire. There are spots over here from the run the day before yesterday, and there's not a lot of growth showing on those outside of, I'm not really seeing any growth there from last night until the imaging that happened this midday. Kind of farther up McNeil Creek, the fire's kind of making its way up through this area that burned in 2013. And then this dozer line up through here is kind of the boundary between the 2013 Butler Fire and the 2020 Red Salmon. So this fire is going to continue to burn out this drainage. But right now it's not really doing that in a super dramatic fashion in McNeil Creek. Next drainage over, it kind of made some decent slope-driven runs today up towards the ridge. So there's still a little bit of growth here in the middle of the fire up towards that red salmon burn, but the whole kind of west end of it, kind of above Butler, hasn't really moved for a couple days now. As far as we know, the spot at Trip Point didn't grow at all today. So there you go. That's your Butler Fire update. Like I said, we'll jump on in the morning if the infrared has got anything dramatic, and we'll share it with you then. Thanks a lot. And I want to thank our sponsors, QTAC Fire, Firebox, and Water Axe Pumps.